Okay, thanks.
Just say that this is linked to the playlist directed, right, Tim? It's not to the video.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So we'll be just adding the the playlist itself is unlisted, so we'll be just adding new videos every time there.
Okay, I see. I got it.
Perfect. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. No worries. Okay, I see Max, Nathan, Andrew. Actually, let's take an attendance. Get the sign-in sheet.
All right. Let's get started and see what you guys worked on between the end of last class and today. Who would like to go first? All right, Farhad, you can go ahead and share your screen.
Just unmute yourself. You're muted.
Wait, was it my name Armand last time?
Oh, it totally was. Sorry, I have to. You're gonna have to remind me probably a couple times.
Yeah, no, it's Farhad's probably his dad's computer. That's why it showed like that.
There you go.
Is it my mom's computer?
Oh, mom's computer. Okay.
All right, Armand, you can go ahead. Share your screen.
It's saying host disable person screen sharing.
That's my bad.
Okay.
There you go. Now you can do it. And everyone else, while this is happening, make sure you guys are getting Unity open as well.
Yeah, so just for those who just joined, we will go through the homework right now. So everyone will get a chance to present and show us what you got.
That's my snowman. I didn't actually finish it because I didn't actually finish it. I didn't add all of the details in because I didn't have enough time.
That's all right.
That's nice. Yeah. Can you zoom in? Yeah, good job. Yeah, that's what I wanted to see. You see how his nose is somewhere else? So we need to fix that, right?
Nope, we did not know how to figure that out, so we just put it here so it looks like.
Yeah, that's why you want to actually circle around him to make sure all the parts, because sometimes when you look from the front, from one angle, any angle, it looks like it's actually attached, but then when you zoom in, you can see the gaps in between, right?
I know, we had to deal with that problem, but we couldn't.
Okay, so maybe we can actually fix that right away, Riley?
Yep. Yep. That's something that I'll definitely be talking about.
But can we help him to fix it right now on his machine?
Right now?
Yeah.
Okay. So I want you to click, you see the little blue Z over on the side?
I know.
Go ahead and click on that.
Okay.
Now you should be able to click on the nose and drag it closer in to the snowman.
Like this?
Yeah, somewhere around there. Now go ahead and click on the green Y.
Yeah, we'll just help you to fix the nose, and the rest you can do in the same manner, right?
Yeah, so now go find the nose, wherever it is.
And where do I keep it?
Hold on. Let go and hit Control Z. No. Go back to the Y. I want you to hit the Control key and the Z key at the same time.
You mean Control and Z?
On your keyboard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold Control.
There we go.
Yeah.
He did it. All right, click on it again and make sure you are selecting that green square. Yeah, there you go. Good. And now let's go and click on the X and see if we got it in a good spot.
No.
Nope, it's a little bit high. We can drag it down. Very good.
Now if you press Z.
Now check Z again. Nope, it's a little far out. And we can just keep fiddling with it. Oh, nope, you're moving it side to side. Click the red arrow. There you go. And now we can go check X again.
The blue one? Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And just keep flipping back and forth between them. And maybe every so often just rotate around to see
Yeah, I can do that.
how it's looking.
No, it's gonna deal with the hand now.
Well, yeah, you can deal with the hand later on your own time, but we just wanted to show you how to manage that, okay?
Okay.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
All right. So who wants to go next? Oh, Zachary, you beat me to it. All right. Take it away, Zachary. Also, do you prefer being called Zachary or Zach?
Zach, you're muted.
It doesn't. I don't know which one you. It doesn't really matter.
All right, sounds good.
Oh, that's impressive. Look at that.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
And the lighting and everything. Good job, buddy.
Yeah, I kind of sort of focused more on the terrain than the snowman.
Yeah.
All the snowman has is a face and a hat.
Very
Oh, I like the
magical
hat.
atmosphere.
It's a little hard to see the hat, but that's really cool.
Yeah, maybe give him a yellow hat or something so he can see it on that background.
I figured out a way to kind of like have like make it like dark, but no shadow comes from like the top. Like no light comes from the top, because that's what it does whenever you flip it over.
Yeah.
I figured out a way. I kind of just changed the color of the shining of it.
Mhm.
Nice.
Awesome. Good job, buddy.
Very good.
Love it. Yeah.
All right. Who would like to go next? Is that a hand, Khalid?
No.
No. Everyone has to go at some point. And if no
Yeah,
one volunteers,
so-
I'll just have to start picking.
I'll go.
All right, Nathan.
Yeah.
And then so Nathan, then Lucas.
So I'll just share my screen.
Show us what you made.
You see it?
Not just yet for me. Ooh, ooh.
That's
Ooh,
snazzy.
wow.
I like that.
That's creative. Good job.
And so what I did for like the materials, I downloaded images offline. So and then I put them in the Unity assets and then I dragged them onto the shapes.
Yeah, you mentioned that yesterday. It looks actually quite awesome.
And color difference. The spotlights are different colors, reds and blue, and they cast different shades on the snowman.
Yeah, that's everything that Riley told. So good job, buddy. Good job, Zach. Good job, Nathan. And Armand, good job there too. Yeah.
All right. All right. Very good.
Just one sec, Nathan. Can you please can you press the play button? I want to see how it looks when you play it. Yeah.
Well, nothing really
No?
happens, yeah.
No,
Just wanted to make sure your camera was
just
well
wanted to make sure
situated.
your camera points to it. Yeah. Good job. Good job. Excellent.
All right.
Okay.
Right after he's done sharing, Lucas, you can go ahead. And don't forget you're muted.
Can you unmute your mic, Lucas? Yeah, thank you. Awesome. Nice. Look at that snowman.
Is he holding a
also-
lantern?
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I also drew him melting.
Oh yeah, he's this like frozen guy, right?
I see that. That's really cool.
Oh, that's so cool. Love it. You see how you can actually see the end of the plane? So when you actually point your camera to it, you can zoom in more, so you don't really see the edges of your plane, or make your plane bigger, right? So
Okay.
that's another option you could do. Yeah, maybe make your plane bigger. Yeah. And the easiest way to do that is just play with the scale. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Very good.
Good job.
So, who's up next?
Yeah, I think you can pick now.
Yep. Let's see. How about Ajwat? Did you want to go next?
Sure. I'll go.
All right.
Select Screen now.
Yep.
Share. Can you see it?
Yes. Ooh. Scary.
Wow, look at that.
The face is kind of deformed a bit. I can get the coal pieces for the mouth. I couldn't get them to orientate right. So there's
Honestly, I just put one of those arms, make it a nose. It looks like a real carrot.
oh yeah.
Yeah, you can just copy it, like duplicate it, minimize it in size, and just put it. Doesn't necessarily need a mouse when he has a nose.
Yeah, that would work.
Yeah, awesome. Good job, buddy. Love it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yep.
Same
Okay.
thing here. Maybe make your plane bigger, zoom your camera a little more. Yeah, so that when you play it,
So when I play it currently,
you're not playing it, are you?
I'm playing it right now. Right now it's being played.
Yeah.
This is
So let's
playing.
see.
Oh, here.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was good. That
Brilliant.
was a good play. Yeah. Awesome. So that was a what? Yeah.
Oops.
7 more people to go.
Let's go with Max. How would you like to show off what you did?
I'll do it.
Pardon?
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Just trying to find my Unity. Because I have so many windows open.
I understand.
Okay, here we go. I have to zoom in a little bit.
Oh. You've done something interesting there.
No, the camera's right in his face because I did like a player controller so he can like walk around a little bit.
Did you write your own player controller?
No, I downloaded it.
Okay. And you're playing as the snowman?
Yeah,
Interesting.
you can just sort of walk around. The floor is like lighted a little bit.
Oh, he figured out how to actually control him.
Yeah, I was writing a different program for a different game and I just
Is
copy
it
and paste
similar?
the controller.
Oh, okay. Oh, good, good. Good for you.
Very interesting.
So if I just, where's
It's a nice snowman. Oh, he's
Yeah, amazing. Good job. I like his arms. Very realistic.
cute. Yeah.
I modeled them in Blender.
Oh,
That's
good
really
job.
cool. That's really impressive.
Nice. Good job, Max. Yeah.
All right.
I'm just trying to,
All right.
oh here.
And next, let's see. We still have Nathan, Khalid, Andrew, Adam, and Tyrone. Yeah? Let's see. Let's try, how about Khalid next?
Sure. I didn't finish mine completely yet.
That's fine.
Mm.
That's nice.
Except the problem was that like this like that.
Ah, same thing as with Armand.
Yeah, so I have to fix that.
Okay. You saw how we fixed with Armand though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. You just rotate it to give it different angle, and then you know where to put what.
Yeah.
But again, if you reset, when you add every element and you reset it to zeros, just like Riley showed last class, that's very often takes actually care of that problem, right? Then everything is in the center. You just move it up and down. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you very much. And now, how about Nathan?
I went already.
Oh, you did go already. My
Yeah.
bad. I'm so sorry. Have we had Andrew?
No, Andrew and Tyron, right? Tyron, how do you pronounce that? Adam, right? Oh, who was just now?
That was just Khalid.
That was Khalid, right? Okay, so yeah. So next, Adam, Tyron, Andrew. I think three of you are left.
Andrew, would you like to go?
You guys are all three of you are
Sure.
muted. Yeah, there you go.
Sure. Share screen. You should be seeing it.
Interesting.
Oh, wow, that's an interesting creature.
Yeah. I decided to add
Make
two of
that
them.
smaller.
One's a little taller because of kind of like positioning, and it's not like the same place. So
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want us to help you with anything here, or you
No,
like
it's good.
you like it? Yeah, you guys are creators, so sometimes actually the idea is to look it like that. But if you want it smaller, like the head at least, right? You can always click on the head and play with its dimensions in the inspector, right?
Mm.
And in this case,
I think it works well if you were going for a bit of an eerie vibe.
yeah. But in case if you accidentally got this, like the organization there, for example, right? Can you open the sphere one? I want to see the children of that element.
it's
Yeah.
it's both the snowman, because when I copied the first snowman, its file went also into the other snowman's file area. So, yeah,
so that's an easy fix. Just click on the sphere one and drag it somewhere outside of the other sphere one. Yeah, where you see a blue line, and then let go.
Yeah, just drag and drop it in
You
different
didn't
places.
quite drag it until you see. You have to drag not the arrow, but the Nope. No.
No.
Collapse.
Where did it open?
Yeah, close that.
Drag
Yeah.
it, and
There you go.
there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
And other than that, if all the coals and nose are inside of it, so if you click on sphere, sphere one is an entire snowman, right?
Yeah.
Right. So can you click it on his head?
You want to be in
I'm
scene view.
on game view.
There you go.
Yeah. Just zoom in.
Mm.
Yeah, just click on the head. There you go. So which one is it? Sphere 2, right? But then the other elements are separate. So if you just resize the sphere 2 right now, then the elements will kind of pop out of it, right? So you want to make sure all the elements, all the coals and nodes are inside of that element, so you can do the change to that entire element. Can we really quickly do that? Can you click on all his coals on his face?
I know capsules part of that.
Yeah, click on that sphere 2. Let's just really quickly. No, you don't want to move that one. No, you want to.
Wait, no, just
space.
Okay. Click on the capsule and drag it out of sphere 2 real quick. Yeah, just put it down. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, and now can you click on the part that says sphere 2? And now hold shift and click on sphere 8.
Okay.
Okay, and now you can just drag them all out of sphere 1.
That's not what we
No,
want
no,
to
no,
do.
that's not what we're
What are you trying to do? Are you trying to
No,
put it
no,
into
no,
a...
no, don't do that. Sphere 1 is the entire snowman. Sphere 2
Do you want
is
an empty
his
game object?
head. So I want to make sure that the nose and eyes and everything else on the face are actually children of that, right? And at the same time, this is good refresher for everyone. So let's first of all rename the sphere 2, call it head.
I don't know what happened.
Just hit Control Z.
Yeah, when you guys make mistake, Control Z will undo your last
Control Z
command.
a bunch of times.
Wait, rather,
Yeah,
didn't you show them how to put it in an empty game object?
I did show that.
Yes, it was in the
But-
video as well.
That's fine.
Okay, no, but this clearly means that he kind of missed that point. That's why I want to bring it. Just one sec. Just don't don't rush. Okay, I think he got it. Yeah.
Yep, you got it.
He got it. Yeah. Yeah. Just put everything that belongs to the head inside of the head parent. Yeah. Nice. You don't want to touch. Yeah. Okay. Just avoid the other two spheres that are the body, right?
There.
And everyone else, like, just watch and learn from this as well, right? Yeah. So now when you click sphere 2, the sphere 2 doesn't have any errors though, right?
It's in something right now.
You know what? You can just click on the element right in your drawing. You don't have to guess there. Just click on that code on the picture. You want only the head elements. Yeah. And now you see it gets selected, then you just move it. Yeah. So go to your actual, the model of the snowman. Yeah. Yeah, that one moved. Yeah, that's the right element. Move it in. Yeah. That's the wrong element. You'd want to avoid that one. Don't move that one because that was the body. When you click on it, you can see which element gets selected, right? And if it's a wrong element, then you don't want to move that. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, so now just open again your sphere 1. Open your sphere 1 and click on the parent of sphere 2. Yeah, sphere 2, click the parent. There you go. You see all the elements selected with it, right?
Yep.
Now would be a good opportunity to actually change the name of that element and call it head. So in your inspector, remember how, yeah, there you
You can
go.
do it there too.
You can do that too, yeah. Okay. Call it head, yeah. Nice. Now stay on the parent. Yeah, just click on your head. That would be a snowman. Yeah, there you go. That is a good organizational skill that will help you when you have like tons of different like assets in your game, right?
So you saw how you had two identical snowman and how when you made a change, you built them and you had them in your scene and then you tried to change one of them, but you also had to change the other one in the same way. I'm going to show you a technique very, very soon how we can get around doing that.
Okay.
Yeah, so, okay, and the last thing I wanted you to try doing, let's try to resize the head of one of the snowmans. Just keep it, yeah, keep it head, that's okay. Yeah. Okay, just click on that. Click on the head one.
Yeah.
Okay, that's head 2, that's good enough. Okay, now I want you to go to your inspector and, yeah, okay, there you go, you can do that too. Yeah, that way you can play with it, you can minimize it. That was the purpose of this entire exercise, right? So now you can actually resize all of them as a group, as opposed to individual elements. Does that make sense? Yeah?
Yep.
Awesome. Good job, Andrew. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
All right, last two people we have Adam and Tyrone. How about we go Adam and then Tyrone? So, Adam, would you like to go?
Adam says wait. Okay, so maybe Tyra. Just unmute your mics, guys. You're muted.
That's okay. We just want to see what you did do, Adam.
Okay, Adam is loading Unity. What about Tyron? Tyron, can you unmute your mic, please? Yeah, I just started it because it looks like a day to download. What do you mean?
Didn't you download Unity yesterday? Or were you here yesterday?
I think it was.
Oh, I understand. It took a day to download yesterday, so you didn't get an opportunity to work on the project. I see. That's fine, Tyrone. That's fine. That's all good. All right. Just let us know when you're ready to go then, Adam. You didn't have time to work on it? All right. That's all right.
Okay, but Adam, please take some time tonight and finish that and show it us tomorrow, okay? Can you do that?
No, we'll have a different one today. And I don't want to assign 2 homeworks in the same day.
Okay.
All right. So,
Adam says wait.
you can't share your screen. What error are you getting?
Oh, you have to share your Zoom screen. Like you do that in the Zoom, not in
there we go.
There you go, yeah. Okay, technical difficulties? Oh, no. The other thing you can do, maybe take a screenshot of it and just attach it as a file and send us through the Zoom if you have. What kind of computer, Adam, you have?
Oh.
Do you have a microphone on your computer? Can you unmute yourself so we can actually hear you? And you'd unmute yourself in Unity. Sorry, in Zoom.
I understand.
Chrome. Oh, Chrome crashed. Why? Well, Chrome is a browser. If it's crashed, then you shouldn't be here on Zoom, would you? Oh, he's using app though, right? Okay. We're not using Chrome though. We're using Zoom application and we're using Unity.
Zoom will run in Chrome. It has a browser version.
Right, and that's why he has trouble sharing. So Adam, I strongly suggest you actually installing Zoom. When you click on the Zoom link, it actually gives you option. I can share maybe my screen, or Tim, do you want to show that? Anyways, when you click on the Zoom link, it gives you option to open it as a web meeting or to open it as the Zoom application. So you always want to launch the Zoom application because the web version is very limited. I've seen many Zoom meetings where people couldn't share their screen just because they were using the web version. Okay, just wanted to bring that up. Okay, never mind. So technical difficulties may happen. We'll take care of that a little later. And at the meantime, yeah, let's, Riley, it's all yours. Go ahead.
All right. So I also decided to do the, that's not what I want. This is what I want. The homework. Let's see. Zoom. Thank you. So, a couple of things. First of all, it's a road. Second of all, and I should have hit the play button a little bit earlier. There we go. Can you guys see that?
Zachary says they glow.
Oh, you got snow? Or...
I did get snow.
That's cool.
Oh, it's snowing.
So, they glow. And yes, the lamps do glow. So I want to talk about both of these things today. In this first little bit. I want to talk about how I got the snow to work. And I also want to talk about how I got the lamps to glow. And maybe some other little interesting things about what I did in this scene to help keep myself organized and to really reduce the amount of work that I did. Because as you can see, I have a really long road with a lot of lights on it. I can assure you, I did not place all of that by hand. What I did was I build these things called road segments. Scene view, please. And a road segment encompasses a lamp, or 2 lamps, and a bit of road. And then I'm able to repeat it. Now, that's all fine and dandy. But what would happen if I wanted to change one of my road segments? Say I wanted the lamps not on the road, but to the side of the road. I would still have to change like nearly 100 road segments. Well, okay, maybe not nearly that many, but like 30 road segments, all by hand. That's 60 different lamps I would have to move. I'm not interested in doing that so much. I'm really not. So what I can do is I can turn the road segment into something called prefab. And I do that by taking an object from here and dragging it down into my project, my project folder. And we can see we get an item here. And then at any point later, I can drag it out into my scene. And I did this, as you can see, for all of my different items. I did it for my snowman, my top hat, my lamp, and the road segment. So if I now double click on a prefab, it lets me edit it. So I can do things like taking the lamp. Nope, that's not where I want to. Taking my lamp and going from, let's see, I went from -4 to, nope, that's not what I wanted to do. What if I did -9? Nope, -11. There we go. So if I go ahead and edit this,
Prefab.
Yeah, prefab. There we go. And then I save it, and now I hop back into my scene by hitting this back arrow. We should have seen a difference. Excuse me. Did I move it onto the wrong? I totally moved it in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Oh,
You vertically instead of horizontally, right?
Yep. Which, of course, because it was repeated, I
Yeah.
didn't notice the shift.
Yeah.
That's fine. So we'll change this from a 4 to a 6.
Yep.
I'll change this from a -4 to a -6.
There you
That
go.
should be the change we're looking for. There we go.
There you go.
So now, as you can see, all of my lamps have moved across all of my different, along all of the road. I can go ahead and make a prefab extraordinarily easily by just clicking on an object, any object in my scene, dragging it down into my project folder, dropping, and voila, a road. If I can drag that into my scene, I can have another road, side by each. Control Z to undo. We'll also notice that when I make something into a prefab, it goes blue in our hierarchy. So we can see which ones are prefabs and which ones aren't. Okay? So that's that. Now, let's take a look at the lamp. Or actually, questions about prefabs first, if there are any.
Okay, quite clear. So all you do is just what you create one object, the group of objects together, then you move that entire group into your assets section at the bottom, and it automatically will become a prefab. The only thing though is it's really nice to have a prefab folder and actually move it to that folder. So
oh, I guess I should say that too. There's some other changes that I made. You might have noticed I had a bunch of materials here in the first time. I went ahead and go into create folder, and I've created a folder for all of my materials. And I've created a folder for all of my prefabs. And there was already a folder for me, but I'm making use of it for all of my scenes. And to move something into a folder is just like in any file browser, you just drag and drop into the folder that you want to go. So if I were to make, for example, a new material here and called it my third material, and I were to drag that into the materials folder, it would go in there. Then I could open up the folder and find my third material, which I'll delete now. All right, so that's folders. Helps to keep you organized and to find stuff. And I'm going to be keeping stuff in folders for myself. So if you want to follow along with the same structure as my project, you're going to want them as well. Even if you're not following the strict organization of my project, I strongly recommend you make use of folders to keep yourself organized. All right, now, how did I make the lamps glow? Well, that's a two-part issue. So the first thing I want to talk about is the lamp itself. We'll notice I've, well, yeah. I don't want to be in here just yet. So there's two things we can do. I'm just going to go ahead and hide these roads for just a moment because I don't want their lights. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and create a sphere. Shift F to focus on it. Click on the move tool to move it up. Well, let's just go in and click here and reset the transform. There we go. So now I have a sphere in the world. What I can do is I can go make a light, a child of it, and it will glow. And now when I move the sphere around, the light will follow around with it. And I can definitely do this. But we'll notice that on the light, we have this thing called we just have a transform and a light component. So instead of doing this, what I'm able to do is go onto the sphere itself, hit this big button down at the bottom here, add component, light, and it does the exact same thing as it was doing before. I now have a sphere that's definitely emitting light, but it's not glowing, which is a problem. To make it appear like it's glowing, we need to give it a material. Let's call it glowing orb. And I'll drag this material onto my sphere. And the way we make it appear to glow is we come over into our material and we click this checkbox here, right next to where it says emission. We'll click that and we get a new box called color. Now we can choose the color that is going to appear to glow. If I go over here and choose a green, now it kind of looks like it's a glowing green orb. The problem is the light isn't the same. I can also change how much it appears to be glowing by clicking on these buttons here. If I do this, it gets dimmer. If I do that, it gets brighter. Remember, this isn't actually glowing. It's not producing light from doing this. It just looks like it's glowing. I can also give it a different undertone if I wanted. It's a little bit hard to notice unless we turn down the glowing. There we go. And now let's see, so as you can see, it kind of just tints the way it's going to glow by changing the albedo. Let's turn back up the glow. So what we can do is we can save the color of the that we made it glow by going down into swatches, clicking the little add swatch button. Then we can come back over to our sphere, click on the color of our light, and then select that color. And now the sphere is emitting the same color of light as it appears to be glowing. And suddenly we have a glowing object. The only trick is making sure that we do these two things, one with the material and one with the light, however we want to combine them together. And that's how you get a glowing object. Questions about that?
Excuse me, I have a question.
Yep.
Is this baking lights or is it different?
No. All of these lights are going to be real time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I probably won't talk about baking light because none of our projects are going to be big enough to really take advantage of it too much.
Okay.
For those of you who don't know, it's just a performance. Baking lighting is a performance technique so that the computer doesn't have to do less computations while the game is running. It can just do those computations ahead of time and then make use of it. But there are some very strict limitations on what you're able to do then. All right, so that's glowing objects. And if I go ahead and bring back my roads, and take a look at the lamp and the light, we'll notice that, yep, I definitely have a light component with a certain color. And if we go take a look at the lamp material, I also have emission set and it's glowing. And that's how I have the lamp looking like it does. Okay. The last thing maybe to mention is just the structure of my snowman. If I go ahead and expand all of these different bits, the top hat should really be in the head. Oh boy. Yeah, so if you try to edit things in the scene like this from a prefab, you're going to run into issues. You do need to go into the prefab and make the change you want by taking the top hat and putting it inside of the head. There we go. And of course, that change is going to be reflected when I come back into my scene. So It's not maybe the best organization, and I definitely am a little sparse on some of my naming, but at least my top level objects, my head, my face, my top hat, my arms, they all have names to them and work in different components. So if I want to change a little bit of it, the associated parts will also change in an appropriate manner. So just a little bit of how I went about structuring my thing. And because my top hat was a bit more of a complicated object, I definitely modeled that separately and then put it on. Okay, so that's the majority of what I've done in this scene. And then of course I broke out the environment so that I could lay things out nicely and tweak around with it. So a lot of organization went into this scene. Now, the thing that I'm most excited to show you is the snow. It's this thing called a particle system. We create one by going effects, effects, particle system. And are you going to play for me? Nope, you were not. And if I go ahead and play it, we'll notice the snow falling. Now, a particle system does not look like this when you first go ahead and create it. If I go ahead and create a new particle system, the color's right, the angle is all wrong, the particles don't look quite right, and even if I did get it facing the right way, say like that, and move it up a little bit, it still doesn't look a ton like snow, especially, oh, my computer's not going to like that. There we go. It especially doesn't look like the little gentle flakes that I have that are falling slowly down. Do be careful. Particle systems take a lot of resources, and they can sometimes really hurt your computer. So definitely go lighter on the particles if you can. This snow particle system is far too big.
Yeah. So make sure you save your project before you're adding the particles.
Yeah, creating a small particle system, fine. Creating a particle system that's like this big, it's excessive. And even my computer, and it's a decently good computer, isn't too happy with this many particles. Anyways, so how do I go from this to this? Well, there's a bunch of different things we can change. And I may not go through all of them because there are a lot of things that we can change, but I'll definitely go through some of them to give you an idea. So the first thing that we can change, if we go over into our inspector, is we can, let's actually zoom in on the particle system. Oops, that was not zooming in. We can change the start size. I can make them much bigger, or I can make them a lot smaller. All right, already starting to get somewhere. I can go in and change just how much are being produced at any point in time. Say, let's say instead of 10, 30. That's a lot more snow. This shape is an interesting one. It's going to be the shape in which they come out. Default is a cone, and that might work fine. You'll notice that they start up at the top of the cone and kind of spread out along the shape of this cone. But I can also change it to, for example, a rectangle. And now they're all coming straight down. But of course, I can come to the scale and make this, say, 5 by 5. And now I have them all coming straight down out of this, what's effectively a plane. All right, that's working somewhat. That's starting to look a little bit more snow-like. Let's bump up the emissions somewhat more. Let's do like 50. Yeah, there we go. That's a nice amount of snow. We can, of course, also change the color. I could make these red if I wanted. You're not going to notice it too much here. But if I zoom in real nice and close, you might be able to catch one or two and notice that they're red and not white. I'm going to leave them white because red snow doesn't feel terribly realistic to me. If I go ahead and click on collision and hit the little check mark next to it, and then click on not plane, but world, well, now we have really bouncy snow. I can set this field called dampen to 1. And now the snow's sticking to the ground. Okay, that's working a little bit better. The last thing I might want to do to my snow is click on this one called noise. This is going to make them move in random patterns. If I up the strength a little bit, say to 1.5, they're going to move a lot more. And now I have something that's starting to look a bit like a snowstorm. And finally, I can go ahead and move this system. Oops, my bad. Right directly on top of my snowman. There we go. And now if I turn off my other particle system, because I definitely don't want 2 of these running at the same time, and go hit play, we should notice a lot of snow falling down, concentrated right around my snowman. So with a few small changes, I've now made a different kind of snowfall. Questions about that?
And how do you spread it over entire scene?
How did I spread it across the entire scene? Well, that's easy. Let's just turn off this particle system. Turn on this particle system. And I'll scroll down and take a look at the shape. And notice I use a rectangle shape like I did before. But my scale, which is a little bit hard to see. Let's see if I can see it's a little bit bigger. Whoops, it daisies. That's not the one I wanted to hit. Particle system, please. Take a look at the scale. It's 30 by 400. So it's a massive rectangle that just extends along the length of my road. I also needed to increase some other values over here, like the max particle size as well as the emission, because it's now spreading over a much, much larger area. Particle systems are not really meant to be this big. Because I only have one that's this big, it's all right, but my computer still does not like it. If I go into play mode,
Save as post.
so if I turn on this, if I hit the button called stats, it shows me a bunch of stats of the game. If I hit play mode, we can take a look at this number here called the frames per second. It's already really low because I'm starting to share my screen, but as the snow comes in, we're going to start to see this number just drop off. Not particularly quickly, mind you, but it's definitely, see, it was at the high 30s and now we're in the high 20s. So we've already lost 20 frames per second and we're starting to really decrease. Now we're starting to get to the point where it's barely playable if we've been moving around or anything. So having this many particles in my scene and having a particle system this big it's definitely a performance hit. We're starting to stabilize around the high teens, low 20s, but generally you want this number above 60. So
Yeah, that means you're losing frames, and basically your game will have jerky moves in between, right? If you have more movement in there.
yeah, so definitely for this one application, it's fine because all we're doing is sitting and watching snowfall and it's not moving particularly fast. So it's hard to notice by actually looking at it that anything's gone amiss. But by taking a look at these stats, we can definitely see that we're taking a huge performance hit. So, particle systems, they're fun. Why don't you guys go and play with particle systems for a little bit and see if you guys come up with any questions. I'll give you guys 10 minutes to do that.
Yeah, so everyone add the particle system to your snowman project and play with the inspector elements. So again, to bring this particle system inspector, you have to actually click on the particle system that you just added, right?
And remember, we create a particle system by right-clicking, going into effects, and then selecting particle system.
Same way as you create your 3D objects, but select the effects.
Okay, Riley, Khaled had a couple errors that I'd want to take a look at. So could you stop sharing your screen and let him show us his so we can try to debug it a little?
It's more like a Lego storm. Sure, Khalid, go ahead.
Like, wait, right, like these.
Okay, could you show me your project tab again? Let's see if you...
I don't know if
Okay, so he has some...
Go ahead, Kim.
Can you just click assets for now?
Can you go into the folder com.unity.ide?
Is that supposed to be there?
I don't think so.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Can you delete that?
Sure.
Just, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and now try to run it again.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Just click the play button.
Oh. I don't see it anywhere.
Oh, the play button, I think it's hidden behind our faces. So just relocate the camera or something. It should be there. Play, not pause. Okay, unclick the pause. So click on pause again.
Just a sec.
There you go. Yeah, so that looks fine. I don't know where that folder came from, but I think that's where the problems were.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, while we have a little bit of time, does anybody else have any weird errors that we need to take a look at too?
I do.
Hmm?
I do.
You do? Okay, do you want to share your screen and we can also take a look?
Okay. I'm right here and I'm trying to move it and it's like not working. See? Move. Move.
Make sure you're like clicking and dragging.
I am clicking.
You should be able to move it while it's running, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe get a different angle on it.
How do I do that?
We showed you.
I don't remember.
We can either middle or right click to look around the scene, and middle mouse or click on the scroll wheel to slide around the scene.
Armand, are you using a mouse?
No.
Okay, well that makes more sense.
You can also, hold on. Hold down Control and right click to look, never mind.
Oh, he figured something out? So you managed to look around.
Yeah. Thing is the middle mouse button. Aha. There we go. If you don't have a mouse wheel, you can click on up in the top left of the screen, right with the other tools. There's a hand tool. Yeah, and now you can click and drag around. And then you can still right click to look around. And now right click and you can look around. Maybe not. Hold on. Nope, that definitely works for me. So then, Alt left click. Yeah, there you go. You got it. There you go.
Well, that's looking around for.
Yeah,
how
but
do
you can also drag around.
Huh? Oh, you just drag around the rest of it?
Yeah.
Okay,
There you
sure.
go.
No, because to look
Oh,
around,
that's-
I think his trackpad still has a right click, so that's fine.
Yeah, just doesn't have a middle click.
Yeah.
Cool. So now you can get a different position on your particle system and try to move it around.
Yeah, I have a middle click.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
Oh.
I just realized that.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
How do you change it? Because it's going upside. Wait.
You can just rotate it.
Yeah. So yeah, click on the particle system and then grab the rotate tool and just spin it around. Or in the transform, change the way it's facing.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Just like every other object in Unity.
That was difficult.
Pardon?
It was difficult but fun in some way.
To play around with particle systems?
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't used to teach particle systems because it took me forever to finally figure out how to make anything useful with them.
We could show them the like standard particle like demo stuff with like the fires and things.
Wait, there's
Yeah.
Or fireworks.
Later.
Like a little Canada Day celebration, even though it was like last week.
Yeah, we could do that one.
We'll do that later. There's a little bit more that goes into that. I never actually considered making fireworks in Unity, but now that I think about it, it would be extraordinarily easy. All right, any other questions?
No.
No.
Okay. All right. Is everyone okay if I move on to another topic that's not particle systems?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. I'm going to go, whoops, daisies. I'm gonna go back to sharing my screen. Oh, I have one more question in the chat about how to make an object emit light again. All right. So again, what we do is we go ahead and we create the object that we want to be emitting light. Let's find it. Let's move it over into the darkness. Move it up. Let's hide the road. So the first thing we want to do is we want to add a light component so it actually produces light. Then we go ahead and create a material. drag it onto our object. And then we give it an emission color by selecting the emission checkbox in the material and giving it a color so that it actually looks like it's glowing. And then voila, a glowing object.
Riley?
Yeah.
When I tried to do this same thing, my thing wouldn't let me go in and change the emission. It was just stuck.
Oh. Oh, okay. Can you show me?
Yep, sharing screen.
Thanks.
Like over here, right here, you can see that it's just not letting me even change my emission.
Are you? You need to create a new material.
Yeah, I made a new material, Cube 4. I labeled it Cube 4.
No, not a new object, a new material.
Oh, new material. Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
And then I'll just, so then in here I go and select
Yeah.
it, right?
And don't forget to attach the material to your object.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. I will go fix that.
Okay.
Okay, close it, the sun, go away. Go.
Alrighty. So the next topic is also a lot of fun, I think. What I'm going to do. Oh. What I'm going to do is go File, New Scene. Just to have a new scene. I'm going to go File, oops, File, Save. I'm going to call this scene Rube Goldberg. And if anyone knows what that means, you'll know exactly what I'm about to teach. And then I'm going to go double click on the scenes folder and save Rube Goldberg into this that folder. Now if we go and look, it's definitely in my scenes folder. I'm also going to clean this up. I don't want this glow material, but I might keep glowing orb around, so I'll drag that one into my materials and delete the other one. Brilliant. So first thing I'm going to need a plane. Right-clicking on the transform and resetting it. There we go. And we're just going to call you ground and drag in my ground material from earlier. I'm also going to go ahead and create a, let's do a cylinder. No, let's do a sphere, yeah. Right click on the transform, resetting it to 0, and maybe selecting the scale tool and scaling it up a little bit. And I'm also going to go and create a cube, reset this, selecting the move tool. I'm going to move it directly above the sphere and maybe off to the side just a little bit. And maybe we'll also scale it down so it's just a tiny bit smaller. Perfect. I think that'll be perfect for what I'm about to do. And the last thing I want to do is make sure I get the camera in a somewhat nice way. Say like that. Yeah, that should be, oops. That should be fine. And then I'm going to click on the camera, go game object, and align with view to put the camera there. And we can just make sure by either clicking on the game view or hitting play just to make sure that the camera's nice. This is the basic scene I want to use to set up with what we're going to be doing. It's not a complicated scene, not a lot going on, but this is what I want to do. How do I have the orange floor? Oh, that was, oh well. I just assigned a material to my floor. I had a ground material from the previous scene and I dragged that in. And this is the advantage of having one project with a bunch of different scenes. Any of the assets that I make carry across scene to scene. Notice that I also have my prefabs. If I want to drag my snowman to this scene, there's my snowman. So that's why I created a new scene and not a new project just to do this. All right. Okay. Very good. Now comes the fun bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come click on my cube, and just paying attention for right now, I'm going to come click on my cube and hit this big button down at the bottom called Add Component. The same button that I hit when I wanted to add a light to something. I don't want to add a light this time though that could be interesting. And I'm going to go ahead and search for something called a rigid body. Once I have it, I'm going to come up and I'm going to click on a rigid body. Make sure we're using a rigid body and not a rigid body 2D. Okay, so we want a plain old rigid body. I'm going to go ahead and add that to my cube. And then I'm just going to hit play and see what happens. Yes, Max, we are
Did it
doing
lag a bunch
physics.
on your screen too, Riley?
No.
No? Okay, well, it looked a little chunky.
Let me try that again. That better?
Yeah, a little bit. That was good.
Okay, so everyone should have seen what happened with the cube. Not super exciting, but definitely a little bit interesting. And so what I did was I added a rigid body to my cube, and it's enabled physics for the cube. What this means is it's going to collide with anything that has some sort of collider on it. The box has a box collider, our sphere has a sphere collider, the ground has what's called a mesh collider. So a rigid body will make it collide with these things. Second of all, it will apply things like gravity and other forces to the object, causing it to move. As we noticed, it fell. And it also rolled off of the sphere in a direction. Lastly, it will apply forces to any other rigid body or object with a rigid body on it that it comes into contact with. For example, I have a sphere, like so, and I put the sphere there, and I add a rigid body component to the sphere. Now when I go ahead and play, as soon as Zoom decides to cooperate, thank you. Now when I go ahead and play, the box rolls into the sphere and pushes the sphere off of the edge of the world. I can maybe make this a little bit more fun. Let's make the sphere to appear glowing. Chat. So sad. Yes. Much sad. And let's also give the sphere a point light. A light. There we go. Now I have a glowing sphere. What color do we want it? Same color as it's glowing. There we go. And let's also maybe turn down the intensity on my directional light. Yeah. There we go. And let's also give this sphere the same color as the ground, and let's make the cube that color. Why not? There we go. So I can layer all these things together. Zoom, please. Thank you. And when I go ahead and play this time, bing, we'll notice that the light also follows along with the sphere. Whee! Perfect. Go away. All right. So that's physics in a nutshell. All it requires is adding on a rigid body component. Questions about that so far? Adding a rigid body component and getting physics working. Okay. Good. There's no questions about that. And then I can talk a little bit about what's going on with the different things we can change. So the easiest one is use gravity. If I turn off use gravity on my sphere, oops, question. Sure, Max, but just not right now. I want to finish talking about the rigid body component. So in just a little bit. So now if I go ahead and play, the sphere will roll off the edge, but not fall. It's still going to keep going off the edge of the world, just not falling. So that's what use gravity does. It instructs the object whether or not it should obey the laws of gravity. Simple enough. The next thing is mass. Mass is weird. Well, okay, it's not weird. It's exactly as we can imagine what mass does in the real world. So if I make the mass of this cube, say 50, and I go ahead and play, remember the mass of the sphere is still 1, it's going to hit the sphere with a lot more force. Maybe it'll be a little bit more visible if I change it to not 50, but 500. There we go. Now if I go ahead and play, the cube's still falling at the same speed, but it's definitely hitting the sphere a little harder. And if I make the sphere have a smaller mass, say of 0.1, yeah, it's a subtle difference. It's definitely a subtle difference, but if I change everything back to being of mass 1, I think we're going to see a bit of a stark difference. Yeah, very much so a difference from when everything is mass 1 versus when they have a large difference in mass. All right. So let's see. Kinematic, I'm not going to talk about so much. It's useful for when you want objects to participate in physics, but you don't want them to actually move, like walls and stuff. Or if you had a moving platform that you were moving yourself but didn't want physics to move, that's what kinematic is for. These are just performance settings. They can either make, they change whether or not the physics is more performant or more accurate. So not super important for our needs at the moment. Constraints are interesting. If I come onto the cube and I completely check the boxes next to freeze rotation, it's just going to kind of sit on the sphere. It's not rotating anymore. If I slid it over a little bit, though, I think we get to see what I really wanted to show. Maybe not. maybe, maybe not. There we go. So it'll still slide off, but it's no longer rotating because we've frozen the rotation. So that's what these constraints do. We can either freeze the rotation or freeze the position in any of the directions that we see fit, or all of them at once. Okay, so that's all of the bits to do with rigid body. There are a couple more things that I might want to show involving physics, namely joints, which lets us attach two different physics objects together in a myriad of different ways. But before that, I do believe that Max, I think it was Max. Yes, Max would like to demonstrate a physics scene that he's built. So take it away, Max, whenever you're ready. Oh, it's in Blender. Nice. Very, very nice. So we can do that in Unity as well, but we may need to cover, to get that to work, we may need to cover some scripting because he had an object that was just moving like that, which is a little bit hard to set up just with components in Unity. So let's see. Joints. Let's do some joints. I'm going to raise this up. And I'm going to create another cube as a child of my first cube. I'm going to drag it up. I'm going to make it nice and slim, but rather wide on X and Y. I don't have to do this, but it's just for aesthetic purposes that I want it to be bigger. And I'm definitely going to turn back up the brightness on the daylight. There we go. Make the sunshine. And now to the second cube, actually, I want the opposite relationship. I want this cube to be a child of my top cube. And on my top cube, I'm going to add a joint. And the joint that I want is going to be what's called a spring joint. Now, there are a bunch of joints, and I'm not going to go ahead and cover them all because there's a lot. Notice that this first slot is for a connected body, and it's looking for a rigid body. So what I can do is I can click on my original cube and drag that into that slot, and now they're going to be connected. Notice also that when I added the spring joint, a rigid body also automatically got added. I'm going to make the mass of this rather light. I'm going to take this field called drag and turn it up to like 100. And on the spring joint, I'm going to increase the strength of the damping and increase the strength of the spring to like 1000. Now, if I go ahead and play and make sure my camera can see everything, so camera probably needs to be somewhere like here. Remember, going on camera, clicking on the camera, game object, align with view to get that. Now we can go ahead and play. And if I've done this right, it kind of floats down. Oh my goodness. All right.
It got smashed.
Right. So maybe. So that happened because of this parent-child relationship. As I said yesterday, we can have these weird effects when it comes to rotations and scalings on a parent object. I'm just going to get rid of that parent-child relationship, and we should no longer be seeing that effect. Oh my. Zoom, go away. And now if I go ahead and play, still the same floating down, but no longer do we have the effect that we had before of the squishing of the cube as this
No smash.
what's effectively now become a parachute.
I guess so.
And maybe I will reduce the strength of the spring to only 100. Maybe that will show off better what I intend to show. Not quite.
Fix the plane, fix the parachute in place and just let it like bungee jump.
You mean like this?
Precisely.
There we go. Yeah. All right. So we actually do want to turn down the damping to like 0.5. Ah, that's what the issue is. It's being damped too much. There we go. There we go. And now if I let the parachute fall and move both of these upwards a little bit, we should see exactly the demonstration I wanted. There we go. Now it kind of looks like a parachute. I don't know why it's not finishing falling, but that's okay. Unity can be weird sometimes.
Unity, what is up?
Anyways, so these are the different joints, and there are a bunch of different joints. I'm just going to go on to the parachute. Search for joint, and there are a bunch. The character joint, the configurable, these are new. Hinge joint. There are actually a bunch of new joints here that I don't recognize.
Oh, okay.
Unless, what's it? Oh no, they just changed the name of the. I can't remember what the configurable joint used to be called, but it definitely had a less friendly name than configurable joint.
In what sense? Exactly.
So configurable joint can just be anything that you want. I think it used to be called something like, I think it used to be the one that was called hinge joint. Nope, hinge joint is the same. Interesting. Yeah, no. The configurable joint is definitely new. So I don't know about that one at all. That must be new in the most, one of the more recent updates. But the fixed joint is just like a rod between two things. A spring joint is like a spring connecting two things. A hinge joint allows for some flexibility, but can also be used to make like windmills and whatnot, because it has you can make a motor. I have no idea what the character joint and the configurable joint are. Those are brand new to me. I can do some reading up. I don't intend to teach a lot of these joints, but to let you guys just figure them out and show you that they're there and they all work in the same way by just having this connected body to connect the two bodies together.
Okay.
You can play around with that. Something else that's super useful in Unity is if you ever don't know how something works, you can click on this little question mark and it will open up a documentation page, which tells you what all the different properties do, a brief little description of it, and then some further details. And every single component has this documentation. And if you want to know how to use it when we get to the programming side, we can always switch over the documentation to the scripting documentation right here as well. So documentation, definitely your friend. So these question marks, very, very useful buttons to hit. All right. Any questions about physics in our games?
I think we're good.
All right. Okay. So, like yesterday, I have another challenge for you guys tonight. This one is maybe a little bit more fun, though. I definitely want you guys to focus on the lighting and placement. That was the focus of yesterday, is making sure the camera is all in the same way, or nice. But this one, I definitely want to have a focus on physics as well as particles. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of maybe most of these things except for the ground. And let's make the ground a little bit bigger. So who here knows what a Rube Goldberg machine is?
Khalid,
What is it?
Do you want to explain it?
It's like it's like a big obstacle course, except not for humans.
That's kind of an already explanation. Kinda, yeah.
What is it for then?
For whatever you want.
They're for entertainment. They are physics-based machines that has a small little starting thing, oftentimes a marble, that goes through a massive and long contraption, causing some sort of often really simple effect at the end. For example, you might push a marble at one end, it will travel throughout the whole system, and at the end, turn off your room lights.
Oh, I've seen one of those.
Yeah. So I want you to design a Rube Goldberg machine inside of Unity. So we can do this by, for example, taking a cube, and we can lengthen it, widthen it, let's see. This might be better than me trying to design one. Except, so here's a video.
You just take a look at some of it. The whole thing just has like a general idea behind it. If it's like a...
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
So this is a Rube Goldberg machine. If you guys can follow along with the video, it might be a little bit stuttery.
As you can see, it's like just like balls and carts and balloons and stuff all going in like a sequence, trying to trigger other events. And you see, look, now there's just like a ball rolling around. Right? And then you're just trying to move some kind of action from one place and keep converting it into different actions and result in some kind of task. So I don't know whether you could have like a like ball rolling, and the end goal is to like go and like pop a balloon at the very end or something. Right? You can make it as useless as you want. It doesn't really matter. But you can see here, there's like a lot of random stuff going on. And I don't actually know what the... Oh, okay, lights up a Christmas tree. That's what it says the end goal is.
So of course, there are some things that we cannot do in Unity. Like Unity doesn't have fans to turn on or Christmas trees to light up, and we don't really know how to turn lights on and off when something happens just yet. That'll maybe come tomorrow, maybe a little bit later. But we can still put things together and do something along these lines. Building out a course and having things happen. We can build dominoes. We can have a sphere rolling down hills, colliding into one another. We can attach things with joints so that they might swing from point A to point B, or as one thing falls, another thing goes up. That we could do, maybe. So this is the concept. Everyone kind of get the idea?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect. So in Unity, you can make ramps out of cubes. Give us a sphere to roll along the cube. Don't forget to add rigid bodies to things that you want to have physics on them. So I want to add a rigid body to my sphere, but not to my ramp. Oops. Move both of these. Nope. Both of these down a little bit. Yeah, like that. Notice how I'm, oops, getting around to make sure everything's positioned correctly. Creating dominoes is fairly easy. We just want a cube that's a little bit wider, a little bit skinnier, and definitely a bit taller. Put it on the ground like so. Oops. Like so. Take a look from the top. Put it in place. Give it a rigid body with a somewhat light mass. Oops. Add another domino, add another domino, add another domino, add another domino. Ta-da! And let's turn up the mass of the sphere a little bit to like 5. And then let's go hit play and see what this little thing does. Boom, boom, boom.
It's very slow and steady and glitchy.
That's probably the connection. It was definitely smooth for me.
That's just the streaming on Zoom makes it a little bit choppy. But yeah, if you do it on your screen, it should be a little bit nicer.
And we'll notice that if we take a look on my end, I'm definitely getting 116 FPS.
So very smooth.
So wait, does there have to be like an end task, or do we just put a bunch of random?
If you want to try and put an end task in, go ahead. That would be awesome. I don't see any reliable way of doing that outside of making like a cup and having some sort of ball fall into said cup or something along those lines. So no, it doesn't have to have like a noticeable ending so much. But if you can put one in, that'd be really cool. And also, if you can figure out a way to incorporate particle systems, even if you just want to add effects or lighting just to make it look cool, please try and do that. Like, I don't know, putting a torch that actually looks like it's lit on fire, that'd be cool and is a lot of fun to design. So everyone kind of understand what that project is?
Yep.
Kind of.
Yep. Yep.
All right, any more questions?
Nope.
How would you like make a pulley system in Unity without coding?
Ooh.
It's a good question. Let's see if we can try that. Let's hop over to the scene view. Save that. That's going to be running in the background. What would happen if I took a cylinder bring this over here, bring it up, rotate it by 90 degrees. And let's maybe make you a little bit longer in Y. So let's say 5. Yeah, let's do that. And then let's create a sphere. Bring it up and over like that.
I think
And
you
then-
need something more hard, difficult, more of a difficulty to create this, because, like, first of all, like, you need the rope to create the pulley system entirely.
So ropes in Unity aren't necessarily the easiest thing or most existent thing, but there's definitely ways to like go around it and achieve some sort of similar effect.
Okay.
So I think Riley is doing some fun stuff right now. We'll see what happens here.
Let's see what happens.
And can we do that?
Ooh, collision.
And let's turn damping up to like 5. And if I do this, nope, that didn't work. That's okay. I did connect the two to each other, didn't I? Yeah, I did. Sphere 1 connected to sphere 2. We enabled collision. Okay. So then we got to do it the hard way. That's fine. Okay, so the easy way didn't work, clearly. The hard way involves doing this. I'm going to create an empty object, and I'm going to call this a rope segment. Reset. Yeah. So a rope segment. And I'm going to add to it a component. I'm going to add a sphere collider to it. Sphere collider. Now we'll notice a green circle appear. It's invisible so far, but definitely small. And I'm going to make the radius of this a little bit smaller, say 0.1. So it's nice and small. And let's come in and focus on this. Why are you so far away? My goodness. Reset the transform. Move it up. And move it this way. And up some more. And this way some more. And I definitely made that way too small, 0.5. Let's make that smaller, like 0.1. There we go. Perfect. So I have, this is like a sphere, but it's not going to show up at all. I'm just getting this outline of this. And now I need to add a rigid body to it. And I'm going to add 2 spring joints. Okay. Perfect. And now I'm going to drag this rope segment down into my project folder and turn it into a prefab. Deleting it out of my scene, I can now go ahead and create a rope. And a rope is going to be made up of a bunch of different rope segments. Oops.
Why do I feel like something's about to break?
Pardon?
I feel like something's about to break.
Very good. And now I'm just going to go ahead and connect each rope segment to the previous. Do I need 2 spring joints on them? Yeah, I guess I do. So the first one, I'm going to drag the second one in. And this one, I'm going to drag the first one in and the one after it in. And I'm just going to go ahead and do this for all of my rope segments.
Riley?
Yeah?
Can you make put me and Khaled in a break room real quick?
Yep.
Okay.
Just give me half a second. Otherwise, I am totally going to lose where I am. And this one goes there. Hold on. Did I do a bad? I think I totally. Nope, I didn't. What? And you want a breakout room? Breakout rooms. I want to delete that and delete that and delete that. And I want to add a room, add a room, add a room. I want to assign to this room Tim and Khalid, you said?
Yep.
Okay. Open all rooms.
Awesome. There you go.
Perfect. Looks good to me. So, oh boy. Good. Now if I go ahead and bring this in between my two spheres. I ought to be able to get rid of this spring joint here. Nope. And connect this rope segment to the first sphere. And the end of the rope, whoops, to my second sphere. Good. And now if I go ahead and play, let's see what happens.
And you all the way. Walk, walk.
Let's take a look at what's happening in the scene view. And let's also zoom the camera out, please. Thank you.
You can move the camera back more, then you can actually see it better, the ground better.
Yeah. Let's do that. Bip, 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 bip. And let's put the camera there, shall we? Bip. And now let's go Control P. What's happening? Question mark. Okay, so they're there. Definitely there. Definitely not doing what I would expect them to be doing, though. And you two have, yep, and yep, and you all have, yep. Good rigid bodies on you. In any event, this is the idea behind making a rope. I've never actually needed to make a rope before, however. And we may definitely want some scripting involved. Did I? Nope. I totally. Let's maybe turn up the strength of the spring force. Say 100. Good. Now if I go ahead and play, what's going to happen? Oh, there we go. It worked. Kind of. It kind of worked. Where's my rope? Okay, so I'm going to play that again, and we'll see. We'll watch what happened. It's going to kind of work. The problem is my rope doesn't have enough colliders on it, so it's it has holes in it that allow it to fall off of whatever it's attached to. If I had more rope segments on it, it would work a little bit better. Actually work a lot better. So that's how you make a rope. It's not necessarily the most pleasant thing in the world without scripting. Scripting lets us do this much, much easier by automatically generating the correct number of rope segments to connect 2 points of a given distance and then connecting them all up for us. But we can all do that manually, and so that's how you make a rope. And you could use that to make a pulley system. Not the friendliest thing in the world, but definitely doable. Okay, are there other questions?
Way.
Okay, so we have 7 minutes left. It's 2:53 right now. So just wanted to summarize what you guys learned today and what's the task for you guys for tonight. So Riley showed you how to do the particles today, how to add the glowing effect, and how to add physics to your objects, right? And don't forget, just as you add new object, just as you add new asset, new material, the inspector side also has the add component button that you use to add like the rigid body or the light or any other component that is missing in your object, okay? So make sure you select the object and then you add the component from the inspector. So again, this video, hopefully it's all recorded and it will be shared. We will place it in the same playlist. Again, the playlist link was in the top of the chat. Let's just copy that one more time. Maybe everyone just click on it and save. Just make sure it's actually saved on your browser. Yeah, like that. Click on it now before we close the Zoom meeting so that you have it open in your browser and you can actually bookmark it and have it there. All the new videos will appear from our classes will appear on that playlist. It's unlisted. It's only visible to those who actually have the link, okay? And the challenge for today to incorporate everything that Riley taught you today in the project that has the cool physics involved, the Incredible Machine, I call it. Back in my days, there was actually an app that was called Incredible Machine, and you would just put those objects together and see when you play it, see how the physics works, right? So create an Incredible Machine, and yeah, tomorrow in the morning we'll go through all the projects and have a little fun. Yeah, Max remembers that game. Yeah, I love that a lot. It was a pretty cool app. Right, so we have 5 more minutes for questions if anyone needs any help. Otherwise, if you're good, you can actually log off. And if you need help, please stay on, and we're here to help you.
Then I waddled away, waddle, waddle. Then I waddled away, waddle, waddle. Bye.
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 We can get Alex. Can we get Alex to stop the recording?
Yeah, I have to actually run up there.
Bye, Nathan.